There's a great deal of difference between a supervisor and a non-supervisor. You'll find that the police supervisor is a composite of loyalty, initiative, decisiveness, tact and courtesy, sincerity, self-confidence, integrity, and a lot of other things that sound like the Boy Scout oath with a little Batman thrown in. If you're at all modest, you may find it a bit embarrassing when someone accuses you of everything on that list. But don't cringe too quickly. Don't laugh. You have every quality on that list, or you wouldn't have become a supervisor. You'd better have them, or you may jeopardize your position as a supervisor. You may have been one of the boys yesterday, but today, you're in a different role altogether. Now you're there to supervise your friends.
Fellas, the new sergeant. Hail to our leader. Hey, Harry, did you remember to tip the mayor when he promoted you? What's the matter, Harry? You've been a sergeant all night. How come you ain't fat yet?
Remember, you're a supervisor, not a monster. Don't start out by taking yourself too seriously.
Hey, Russ, catch. Okay, come on, you jokers. What say we fall in?
Cut it, will you? What's the matter with you, Frank? All I did... Yeah, well, suppose you just cut it, huh? It's all right for you guys to make a laugh out of it. I don't think it's so funny. You aren't going to get it in the neck, and that's about all I can expect from that guy.
Frank, knock it off. Okay, let's fall in.
Oh, no. Just like when we got off at 19 hours a movie.
Hey. That's the way it goes. So I'm in. Already it starts.
It's true that a new broom generally sweeps clean, but you don't really need a new broom if the old one was still sweeping clean, too.
I don't know if you men were expecting a new order here or not. If you were, you can relax. I don't intend to turn this squad upside down. There'll be no changes. All I want you to do is...
If there are changes that you think have to be made, and you have the authority to do so, of course, make them. But don't stand the place on its ear just to show the boys who's in charge. Make necessary changes if they lead to a more effective operation. But they don't give out points simply for doing it differently. You're in charge of all of these men, and they're all equal in your eyes, no favorites. If you had one particular buddy yesterday, he's not your particular buddy today. By the same token, you're not there in the role of inquisitor.
Williams and Lozano, car 4. Maggio and Gurman, car 7, regular patrol districts.
If you're human, the chances are there were some men you didn't get along with. That's nature. And remember, your men are human, too. Don't use your new authority to settle old grudges.
Frank, wait a minute. Frank, I heard what you said before. Well, you're wrong. Everything is water under the bridge.
Even a bit last month?
Even a bit last month. As far as I'm concerned, the whole thing is forgotten, and I expect you to forget it.
How you handle this sort of thing is, of course, up to you. It depends on personalities and the particular situation. But remember that you're a police supervisor, and you're dealing with many types of individuals.
Frank? You're getting a little shaggy. How about a haircut tonight?
Sure, Sarge. I won't even wait till tonight. I'll hop into Sal's about 11.
Granting special consideration and privileges is a good way to make friends, but that's not the right way to make them.
No, Frank. You know the regulations. Get your haircut tonight, not during duty hours.
Yeah, sure, Sarge.
Small concessions are sometimes tempting, but large or small, any bending of regulations for one individual can set a precedent. Departmental regulations have been established to help you get the work done. That's a supervisor's major responsibility, getting the work done properly. This involves continuous inspection and checking, even of routine assignments.
Be able to miss it. Believe me, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And on behalf of our fair city,
That's the main aspect of your job, to see that the work is done, and to get it done no matter what. Whether there's a flood, a fire, a hailstorm, or some other disturbance. There's one thing you never lose sight of: duty. You have responsibility, and you've got authority. What you don't have are special privileges. Departmental regulations are for you, too. Getting the work done means your own work, too. You're not there just to supervise. You're there to set an example. On your behavior depends the respect and cooperation of your men. There are times when a policeman's lot is not a happy one. Not all temptation comes in the shape of pretty knees. An important aspect of your duties is to bridge the gap between echelons. This opens tempting opportunities for buck passing.
You get groups of teenagers piling up in front of those candy stores, and they don't care how they talk or interfere with people. I've had 7 complaints about these groups. Now, if your men think that they can just wink...
But passing the buck is bad policy. It's bad for morale. It won't earn you your subordinates' respect and cooperation. And in terms of getting the work done, a supervisor's main function, remember, it accomplishes exactly nothing.
I'm not going to tolerate any more laxity.
It's not the men's fault, Captain. I saw those complaints on yesterday's reports. Roll call this morning was a bit... I should have told the men to give those candy stores special attention.
I want you to tell them tonight. I want these nuisances cleared up, and the only way we're going to clear them up is with footwork. And I don't care if they wear out 3 pair of shoes doing it.
What applies to passing the buck to your subordinates holds just as well for passing upward to your superiors. This can be just as tempting, maybe even more so.
Listen, the captain is having kittens up there about... Look, I know it's a lousy deal, but I can't do anything about it because the captain is screaming. We're getting some complaints about teenagers gathering over in front of those candy stores on North Street and annoying passers-by. So tomorrow I want you fellas to get over there and...
You'll get nowhere playing both ends against the middle. Any business you have with your superiors is your business. Don't share it with your subordinates. As a supervisor, you should be able to stand on your own feet. But be sure it's your own feet you're standing on.
Get over there and look out for these complaints that are coming in.
Don't exceed your authority.
As long as Frank needs the exercise and I like to sit, is it all right if we switch? He'll take the beat and I'll take the cart.
Yeah, sure. I don't see any reason why.
Even if it seems slight and trivial, don't exceed your authority.
No, I can't okay that, Scrappy. I'll talk to the lieutenant tonight. I'll let you know first thing in the morning.
See you in the morning, sir.
All right. Good night, Scrappy. Good night, Frank. Frank, glad to see you got that.
Part of a supervisor's responsibility is administering reprimands. It's unpleasant, but if a reprimand is called for, give it. Letting it go by can eventually lead to a complete loss of control of your men.
Frank, stick around a few minutes, will you? I want to talk to you.
Rule number 1 is always reprimand in private. It may be a serious violation or a minor one. That doesn't matter. A reprimand calls for tact and maturity.
You got a haircut today, Frank. While you were on duty? Why?
I needed one. You said so yourself. And like I said, things get quiet around that beat around 11, so I figured it wouldn't be...
There are many possible reasons for misconduct. It could be discontentment, not enough work to keep the man busy, a lack of interest in the job, a misunderstanding of the regulations on your part, emotional strain, resentment, any number of things. As supervisor, you have an interest in the real cause. It's that cause added to the personality of the man you're dealing with, sensitive or thick-skinned, confident or unsure, apologetic or arrogant. That's what tells you how to handle the situation.
Frank, it's beside the point. I specifically told you not to take time off from patrol. And no matter how you slice it, it's a direct violation.
Don't lose sight of the fact that a reprimand should be constructive. And no purpose is served if you let it deteriorate into a verbal brawl.
Boy, you don't lose time, do you? I told those guys this morning I was in for it. Only I didn't expect to get the knife this fast.
Now listen, you. I've had about... Remember one thing, Frank. I gave you an order and you ignored it.
Never let yourself get wrapped up in it emotionally. Be calm and constructive, firm but fair and objective. Only your knowledge of the man, his personality, his motives, and the seriousness of the offense can tell you how to dispose of the incident.
And you've been around here long enough to know that as well as I. I'm going to let this go as a warning. But pull this again, and you'll find yourself being brought up on charges.
Too severe a penalty can be as bad as too much leniency. How closely you strike the proper medium depends directly on how good a supervisor you're becoming. Your measure as a supervisor is always being taken.
Morning, Amandas. Listen, they voted that strike over Cito last night. What you assigned 4 men to it.
How good you are shows even in the way you relay a simple order. Because actually, relaying the order isn't always that simple. You've got to be brief, specific, and concise. The order must be clear and complete. You can't show any hesitation or uncertainty, even if the order you got was a little vague or general. It's up to you to clarify and explain that original order, if you have to.
Now, we've got 2 entrances to cover. Don't interfere unless you have to. But I want the pickets to keep moving so people can get in and out of the plant. 2 of you stay at the main entrance and 1 at the other. One of you act as relief man. Any questions?
No. And you as supervisor will of course check throughout the day to see how the job is being done.
Oh, it looks like we're in for a storm. Better take your foul weather gear along.
That's another concern of the supervisor, the health and welfare of his subordinates. But it goes further than providing relief men and seeing about raincoats. Health and welfare includes physical safety, too.
Cars 1, 7, and 9 proceed to 48 minutes from that. Man on, firing out window now.
Car 1, anyone at the scene?
Yes, Mullins. He's still on the call line.
10-4. Tell him I don't want him to be a hero, but if there are any people in danger, tell him to move them to safety and cover the building till I get there. Everyone all right? Still in the building? 2nd floor.
You're concerned with the safety of your subordinates, but you also must get the job done. Getting the job done in a case like this depends squarely on the orders you give. An order can take many forms. In an emergency or when there's immediate danger, it often takes the form of a direct command. Do this.
John, get over behind that car with the riot gun. Frank, and you go around and cover the back.
An order can be put more as a request.
Ernie, hop in the car and radio back information concerning the situation.
Or an order can actually be a suggestion, even a question. This type of order not only builds initiative, but you can also get some good ideas that way.
What do you think, John? Can you get a better bead from here or over behind that tree?
Over there.
And when you have dangerous or dirty work, your order may take the form of a call for volunteers.
All right, which one of you wants to go with me?
Let's go.
No matter what form your orders took, command, request, suggestion, or call for volunteers, the chances are it's going to lead to paperwork. That's your responsibility, too.
Hank, you better mention the serial number of that rifle. You've got it here, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Your responsibility not only includes seeing that reports are acceptable,
2746183.
Yeah.
but it's also up to you to coordinate certain records and reports and see that the proper copies go to the appropriate places. The supervisor is a combination of many things, at once a teacher, taskmaster, morale officer, coordinator, mother hen, disciplinarian, and a few other things, all of which boil down to one basic quality: leadership. As supervisor, your prime responsibility is to get the work done. You can do this only if your subordinates are good at their jobs. And so, it falls to you to keep them up in their training. The nature of any formal training will most likely be prescribed by your department. Informal training can be entirely up to you. The training keys issued by the International Association of Chiefs of Police provide a good method of training. Other methods depend on your ingenuity. Becoming a supervisor doesn't mean that you suddenly start sitting back and letting your subordinates do the work. Far from it. As your responsibility increases, so does the scope and difficulty of your job. The supervisor is answerable for his own efficiency and for the efficiency of his men. Having leadership ability isn't enough. You've got to utilize that ability to its fullest. You've got to be a leader every minute of every day. Do that, and you'll know beyond doubt that you're fulfilling the responsibilities of a supervisor.